Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Halloween candy book tag. I went over to my Discord and asked some people what their favorite Halloween candy was, and I was going to see if I could find some books to relate to the Halloween candy. I don't know if this tag has been created before. If not, I'm not aware of it. But before we go ahead and get on into the tag, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new videos every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, don't forget to check down in the description box for links to all of my social media, my Buddy Read Discord, and my Patreon, where you can be entered into winning book giveaways. So the first candy that was nominated was like gummies, gummy worms, gummy bears, and Patrick and Dom both suggested those. So the book prompt to go along with that is find a book where the characters have to get out of a sticky situation. For this, I'm going to go with A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmer. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and our main character, Harper, is actually a modern-day girl who lives in Washington, D.C., and she ends up getting swept away to Emberfall, which is this fantastical kingdom, and kind of forced to live in the castle with the beast, Ren. And she has to figure out how to get back to Washington, D.C., or should she stay in Emberfall and try and help out with the bad things that are going on there. So I thought it was a great example of a character that's in a sticky situation, has to choose one decision or another and deal with the consequences and try and figure out what is more important to her. Stay in her new kingdom with people she's learning to care about, or go home where her brother still lives and who she cares about. Prompt 2 is Milky Way Midnight. That is my favorite Halloween candy. And what is a book that kept you up reading late into the night? And I'm going to go with Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. It follows a main character named Aylin, and her family, like her tribe, is constantly fighting and warring with this other tribe. And one day they're fighting, and she actually sees her brother fighting with the enemy, and her brother was supposed to have been killed in a previous battle. So Aylin goes on a mission to steal her brother back and find out what's going on, and she kind of gets swept up in this other supposedly enemy tribe. I really like this book because despite the fact that it's short, it's YA, Adrienne Young definitely knows how to put a lot of character development into her stories, a lot of emotion. There was a lot of relationship dynamics in this book that I really enjoyed, and it was just a pleasure to read. It was a lot of fun. So this one I flew through. The next is Carmel Apple Lollipops, and that was suggested by Stephanie S. And when I think about lollipops, I think about children. So the prompt is, what is your favorite middle grade or children's book? And I'm going to be super simple with this. I'm going to go with Harry Potter. I do have my set. It's up there. I just didn't feel like getting it down. But Harry Potter holds a lot of nostalgia for me. I read the first couple books when I was about in 7th grade, and it just opened up even more so my fantasy world. It was so magical, so whimsical, and I remember talking with my friend in 7th grade how we just wished we were at Hogwarts and could do all these spells and things to help us out in school. So it just opened up a lot of my imagination, so it holds a special place in my heart. The next prompt is Reeces Pieces, and this was sent by Stephanie, or Miss Richards Reed, who does have a booktube channel. And the prompt that goes with that is name a book that is short but packs a punch. And I'm going to go with Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This book is actually both Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So both books are fairly short, but despite the fact that they are so short, they are so whimsical, full of so much imagination. Just the things that he comes up with in his world are just so bizarre, and I love it so, so much. And I also love Lewis Carroll's writing, like his wordplay, like he's a master wordsmith. For such a short book, it's just so fun, so easy to read, so easy to get into, and I just love his writing. The next suggestion was sent over by Andrew at Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and that is Milk Duds. And I said, name a book that disappointed you. For that, I'm going to go with The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani. This is a YA fantasy that is Indian-inspired, I believe. And honestly, I really just like this book, and I haven't read anything by this author since because I think I just don't mesh with her writing style. Like, it is very purpley, very whimsical, but to the point where the plot gets lost. Like, the writing was so flowery that I had trouble following what was going on, like what the characters were actually doing and what the plot actually does. And I always say I really like whimsical writing, but there has to be like that balance between it not overtaking the plot or taking the place of the plot. And I feel like in this case, it definitely took the place of a good plot. So I was really excited for this book, and it just didn't live up to my expectations. The next candy was sent by Tara, and that is Snickers, and name a book that you devoured. And I'm gonna go with The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is definitely a short book, don't get me wrong, but I read it in one sitting. It was definitely interesting. So it follows a boy who goes back to revisit his childhood home, and all of these memories surface about a little girl that used to live there, and we're kind of reliving the memories with him about what happened with this strange visitor that kind of infiltrated like their neighborhood, their houses, their families, and how they took care of her because she wasn't very nice. And the reason that I devoured this book is that it was really interesting. It did keep me gripped. I wanted to know what happened. And this was supposed to be a short story, I believe, that Neil Gaiman just kept adding on to until it was publishable in book form. But definitely a book that I devoured, and I definitely do recommend it if you're looking for a book that's really fantastical and won't take you long to read at all. The next prompt is Peppermint Patties. That was suggested by Walker Wrights, and the prompt that goes with that is name a book that is refreshing. And I'm going to choose one of the books I always choose for prompts like this, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I love this book just because of how wholesome it is. Like, you just have this family, this mom and these four sisters, because the dad's off in the Civil War, that are just trying to survive. They don't have any money, they don't have anything really, and they just derive happiness from small, simple joys, but their relationships aren't perfect. They fight, they squabble, but in the end they love each other and they're there for each other, and there's some cute romances in here, and it's just such a good, wholesome book and one of my favorite classics. The next candy is dark chocolate, and this was suggested by my friend Andre, one of my subscribers and patrons, and we all know that dark chocolate is an aphrodisiac, so I chose name a book that has a good romance. And for this, I'm going to go with Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. So this book has one of my favorite romances because there's just so much angst between the two characters. Our main character is a poison taster, and she has to taste the commander, kind of like the king's food before he does, to make sure that it's safe. And she actually took this position to avoid execution. And she kind of falls in love with this guy that works for the commander, and he has a lot of secrets, and he's almost like a spy assassin type character. And I just love their interactions. It's slow burn, it's sweet, there's some mysteriousness to it, and it's actually one of the romances that I enjoyed reading like over the course of the series. Sometimes the romances can kind of burn out, but this one was very well done throughout all three books, and definitely a lot of angst in the first book. And the last candy is peanut butter taffys, and this was submitted by SlyCooper on my Discord. I have never in my life had a peanut butter taffy, so that is all you. So I chose find a book that you own that is a special edition, just because I feel like peanut butter taffys aren't very common. And I'm going to go with my copy of Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, because I have the 10th anniversary edition, and there's really not that much different about it, but it does have 10,000 words of bonus content, as if Brandon Sanderson needed any more reason to add more words to his books. But I read this book last year. I have a full review of it. I really liked it. I think it's a great standalone. It's one that I see myself revisiting in the future. And I did not, unless it was like woven into the story, I don't think I read, I did not read the additional scenes in the back. So I didn't even read the 10,000 extra words, but it's a special edition. Okay, you guys, so that is it for the Halloween candy book tag. These are probably the most random candies that you guys will hear about as favorite Halloween candies, but I tag all the people that helped me create this tag. So Stephanie at Miss Richards Reads, Dom at Dominish Book, Andrew at Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and if I'm forgetting anyone else, Walker, forgive me. I hope you guys have a great Halloween, and I will see y'all in another video soon. Goodbye! Thank you.